and built the Sith Order on these creatures' backs, or these aliens' backs. And so what happened was a group then had to break off and become in the light to go off and to fight the dark. And so there is become this thing where as long as there is the light, there has to be the dark. And so you can never have peace in the universe as long as these two opposing forces are fighting with one another. So what I think they're doing here is Luke Skywalker has come to realize this himself. That, he went off, and no sooner than, had he and his father destroyed the Sith Order, then he went back, and then he tried to go off into, stir up the Jedis, bring back the light. Well, of course, by bringing back the light, you're bringing back the dark. And he's now realized after what happened at his academy that's just not going to... Then things have got to change. So I think what we're going to see here is that Luke is going to try to go off and try to bring balance back to the Force by not, just by going off and embracing all sides of the Force. And I think that's what we really got when he was asking, Rey what she felt, and she's saying the light, the dark, the balance. And I think that's what he was trying to get into her head. We are trying to bring balance to the Force. So when she does eventually go off and end, Snoke and Kylo Ren, what we're going to find is, she's going to do it, but not by being, too light or too dark, but by embracing the entire Force to her. She's going to be able to finally end this fight forever.
No, I think that's an awesome theory, and I think I'm going to put a little bit more of my own theory after we go for a quick music break, just kind of break this down and allow you to catch your breath a little.
Thank you.
And definitely, so there's a lot more discussion to come after our little music break, so sit back, enjoy this, and we will be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. So for the first little part, we did a shout out for Lazy Nerd's chiptune composition course that he's doing this Saturday at Skull Space. Jeez, wow. So you find that on Facebook. Just look up Skull Space and all the information will be on there. Then we proceeded to talk a little bit about the Star Wars trailer as well as the Star Wars celebrations. Now, that Mask Guy put a lot of theories of things that he thought that could possibly happen in the Last Jedi. Now I'm going to give a little bit more about what I personally took away from this trailer, as well as maybe a little bit predictions and theories of what I think could possibly happen. Now I love the trailer. Now it was really this whole, even though the trailer didn't last very long, I was hooked from beginning to end, which is pretty rare for a trailer. I was kind of giddy with joy. So that's an awesome feeling, especially when it comes to Star Wars. With the Force Awakens, I was excited for it, but there was just, something was missing. This here takes in a completely different way, and I like the theory that Rey is the balance. But I think we actually have more than one person in the whole Star Wars universe right now who is a little bit more of a balance. And people might not like this theory, but I think after watching The Force Awakens multiple times, and seeing this trailer and kind of with your theory, something else has made sense. You look at how Kylo was struggling with this whole, he's trying to be with the dark side, but there was that little bit of light coming out, and more so, especially with Rey being around. I think one of the big things we're going to see in The Last Jedi is Kylo Ren is going to start becoming more, balanced, more drawn towards the light. And I think that is going to be a big factor on what goes down with Snoke, as well as what leads into the third of the trilogy. I don't think that Rey is the only one that's going to bring balance. You need someone from the dark side to help bring that balance in. And I think, Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, or Organa, whatever you want to call him, is that second half to this puzzle. And I know people may not like this theory because generally when you think balance, you think coming more from the light side than anything. But there are two sides to the specter, and it's yin yang, so it only makes sense that to complete the puzzle and bring balance to the Force, you need both halves of the puzzle to come together.
And I'm just gonna step in here while my lungs are still cooperating a little bit. We know that from previously, the part of the reason why Snoke was so fascinated by Ben, Organa, Kylo Ren, whatever you want to call him, is because he was in tune with both sides of the Force. And so I like your idea here. I like your theory here because, I wouldn't necessarily, think that he's going to bring balance because he was, felt he was too close to the light side, and he was asking his grandfather to show him the darkness so he could finish his work.
See, and that's the tough thing, though. When you look at families, you tend to gravitate towards the strong male figure in your family, and that just happened to be, Darth Vader. So it only makes sense that he would gravitate more towards the dark side because of that. I don't think that is what defines Kylo Ren. I think that's only a slight sliver in what he is. He's been corrupted and, molded into this dark side character, and I don't think that's who he's meant to be or who he's going to turn out to be. And much like most characters, there's always that you think who someone is, and then they find out that they're not who they are. And I think that's going to be a big factor going into The Last Jedi. And I, unfortunately, what worries me so much is how they're going to put Princess Leia into this movie. We saw a little clip of her during the trailer of the back of her head. Now, you don't have to say who it is. You don't have to, have any big showing around it. You knew, just from the back view, who this person was. And that shows how important Princess Leia is to the Star Wars fans out there and all this, and how much of a strong female role she plays. And it is unfortunate that we lost her before we could see a little bit more of what they planned for her in the Star Wars trilogy. But maybe in a way, this is what kind of they transform it into a way of how Kylo Ren finds the light side more. Imagine. And this theory is really strange because of the fact of who they are. But imagine Kylo Ren sitting there or standing there or, doing whatever, and two Force ghosts show up behind him, talking to him. One of his mother and the second of his father. Even though they were not Jedi, they were not, in tune with that. Imagine that. That could be the turning point of Kylo Ren, of turning him into this more of a balanced, into closer to the light side. Now, this is a theory and maybe a very wild theory, but I think that could be a factor going into this movie of how they pay tribute to to Carrie Fisher and the character she portrayed for so many years and portrayed to a perfection.
Well, first off, we know that Carrie Fisher finished filming episode 8.
Not necessarily did they keep the footage that they filmed, though.
that this is true, but I mean, at the time of her death, everything that she'd went off and she had done had been, filmed. And I mean, whether or not they are going to go off and use all of it in the movie, or who knows, they may go off and pick and choose what they have and use some of it for episode 9, because they do want to go off and still have her in that movie. Maybe not to such a degree, and maybe, she goes off and they find a creative way to kind of for her to die, and in such a way that goes off and, like you suggest, really impacts her son. And because I mean, what we really, a big part of it is of the story going into episode 7 was that Ben's relationship with his dad, and how he really kind of felt like it definitely, listening to him, talk, you kind of get the impression that, he didn't have a great relationship with his dad, that he felt that his father let him down, obviously wasn't there for him when he needed him to, and, but I do kind of get the impression that he probably had a much better relationship with his mother, and if Snoke hadn't entered the picture, that, he probably, his relationship with his mother probably would have, would have probably survived as, after the announcement. Now, I don't know how much you're aware of the literature of Star Wars. Ben didn't find out about that Darth Vader was his grandfather until Princess Leia was running for a position in the new government after the Return of the Jedi years later, and someone came across the information to find out that Leia really was the daughter of Darth Vader, and went off and announced it to the whole world before Leia had a chance to go off and tell Kylo Ren. She went off. She sent him a letter trying to explain everything, but it was, from what I remember hearing, it's never been clear whether or not he got that letter before he went off and kind of made his decision, what to do, to follow Snoke.
Definitely interesting. There's so much more we can talk about this, obviously. I suggest going to our Facebook page. I believe the trailer for Star Wars is actually on there, or will be on there.
Star Wars Episode 8 trailers up there. There's also trailers for the last season of Star Wars Rebels on there,
which was pretty awesome.
And the trailer for Star Wars Battlefront 2 is also up there as well. So you can go there. You can check out all these trailers. It was a pretty wicked weekend at Star Wars Celebration. One of my favorite things was the costume contest that they went off, the cosplay contest. And there was some pretty wicked, no pun intended, Ewok outfits there that really blew Warwick Davis's mind as he was one of the MCs for the event. So yeah, it was pretty epic. I'm going to let you talk now.
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll go into our very last topic before we kind of end the show a little early, just to give that mask guy a little bit of a break to kind of rest his voice. We do have a lot coming up for us, so there's lots to do, and he definitely needs to get healthy and ready to go. So basically, today I watched the brand new trailer for Gotham, The Return of Gotham, and it is by far completely awesome and yet terrifying. We actually get to see Bruce Wayne get his ninja voodoo, so to speak. Somehow, and I really want to see these episodes just so I can see how this plays out. And he somehow gets this magical power to get his ninja fighting, so he can be the Dark Knight. And I believe they actually call that the Dark hero returns or
something about a dark hero.
Yeah. So there's definitely, this is a huge thing, and unfortunately I've missed so much episodes.